The restaurant's ambient chatter is interrupted by the soft click of the door opening. A man enters. His unassuming appearance, a simple blazer, slightly messy hair, and a faint stubble, doesn't fit the usual profile of a wealthy patron. No one turns their head to acknowledge him, and no one would guess that he could be a billionaire, much less an A-list actor. He steps forward, surveying the lavish surroundings, gold-accented walls, shimmering chandeliers, the soft hum of classical music. He walks with purpose, but there's a quiet humility about him. Without a hint of hesitation, he approaches an empty table in the corner and sits down, his presence barely noticed by the others around him. But then, the moment arrives. A waiter, perfectly poised with his nose tilted upward, glides over. His suit is immaculate, his posture flawless, but his attitude less so. As he approaches Keanu, he scans the man with a judgmental eye. His expression is one of quiet disdain, unaware of who he's about to insult. The waiter stops, coldly appraising. "Keanu, do you have a reservation?" he asks in a voice laced with condescension, his words cutting through the air like a blade. Keanu looks up, unfazed. A gentle smile touches his lips, though it doesn't quite reach his eyes. "No, but I'd appreciate a table, if possible." The waiter's eyes flicker with a mix of surprise and amusement. He suppresses a scoff, rolling his eyes as if to say, "I'm doing you a favor. This place isn't exactly cheap, you know. I suggest you take a look at the menu first. Might change your mind." Nearby diners, overhearing the exchange, chuckle softly, enjoying the scene. Keanu's expression remains unchanged as he leans back in his chair, letting the moment pass. "How interesting," he mutters under his breath, the irony in his tone barely audible but unmistakable. But this is only the beginning. The waiter's subtle mockery is far from over. As he turns away, clearly pleased with himself, Keanu simply watches him go, a quiet storm brewing behind his calm demeanor. Keanu glances at the menu, his calm demeanor never wavering. He raises his hand slightly, catching the waiter's attention. Despite the previous exchange, the waiter approaches with the same air of superiority, a subtle smirk tugging at his lips. "I'll have the filet mignon, medium rare," Keanu says, his voice steady. The waiter, still harboring a sense of superiority, takes the order. But then his attitude shifts further into condescension. He leans in slightly, his voice dripping with mockery. "Do you even know how to behave in a place like this?" He sneers, his words loaded with judgment. Keanu tilts his head, maintaining his quiet composure. A faint smile flickers on his face, but it's hard to say whether it's genuine or just a polite mask. He doesn't respond directly, just a calm shake of his head, but the waiter, unwilling to let go of his small victory, presses on. "I have a suggestion for you," he says, leaning in further with a raised eyebrow. "Why don't you just go and find a place more suited to you? Maybe that fast food joint around the corner?" The words hang in the air like a challenge. The room falls into a hushed silence. The patrons, sensing the tension, watch with growing curiosity, wondering how this exchange will unfold. Keanu remains still, his expression unreadable. He doesn't flinch, doesn't show anger. He simply exhales softly and mutters under his breath, "How interesting." The waiter, feeling emboldened by the silence, turns to walk away, thinking he has gotten the upper hand. But what he doesn't realize is that the calm before the storm is about to break. Keanu's patience has its limits, and the tables are about to turn in a way no one could have predicted. As the waiter continues to mock Keanu with his relentless, snide remarks, the restaurant's manager, who has been observing the situation from a distance, suddenly notices what's happening. His eyes widen in disbelief. A look of pure horror spreads across his face. Without missing a beat, he dashes over to the waiter, his steps quick and deliberate, but his voice is low and frantic as he pulls him aside. "What do you think you're doing?" He hisses, his voice trembling with disbelief. "Have you lost your mind?" The waiter, still riding the high of his assumed superiority, looks up in confusion. "What's the problem? This guy looks like some poor guy off the street. Why should I treat him any differently?" The manager's expression hardens. He takes a deep breath, his voice trembling as he struggles to control his emotions. "You and I need to have a private conversation, because that man is the owner of this restaurant." The words hit the waiter like a slap to the face. His color drains from his face, his legs suddenly feeling weak. He stumbles back a step, his mind racing to comprehend what he's just heard. His eyes flicker nervously over to Keanu, who remains seated as composed as ever, an air of quiet authority surrounding him. The waiter's heart races as his hands tremble. He can hardly believe what's happening. But the manager's frantic expression makes it clear. He's just made an unforgivable mistake. Now, the tables have turned, and the tension in the room shifts. What will Keanu do next? How will the waiter try to recover from the disaster he's just caused? The next moments could change everything. The waiter, his face drained of all color, stammers in a panic. I didn't know. Please forgive me." But Keanu remains unmoved. His composure never falters. Slowly he rises from his seat, every movement deliberate and calm. He steps forward, his presence more powerful than words. With quiet confidence, he locks eyes with the waiter, his gaze unwavering. "Respecting people isn't about knowing who they are," Keanu says, his voice steady and serene, but carrying an unmistakable weight. His words cut through the tension like a sharp blade. The waiter lowers his head, unable to meet Keanu's gaze, the shame of his actions settling in. He stands there, speechless, unsure of what to do next. The room is heavy with silence, and all eyes are on Keanu. Keanu then shifts his focus, turning toward the manager. He stands tall, poised and calm, his silent power now undeniable. The moment of confrontation has arrived. With a soft breath, Keanu makes his decision. He speaks, but his words carry a quiet authority. "Bring me the bill, and make sure he's taken care of," Keanu says, nodding toward the waiter who is still trembling in place. The manager, though shaken, nods obediently, immediately sensing the weight of Keanu's words. The waiter, on the other hand, stands frozen, his world crumbling around him. He realizes the gravity of what he has done. The room watches as Keanu, with nothing more than a calm presence, redefines the power dynamic. It's clear now. Keanu is no ordinary man, and the impact of his actions in this restaurant will be felt long after he leaves. Keanu, standing tall with an air of calm authority, leans slightly toward the manager, his words quiet but carrying an undeniable weight. The manager listens intently, nodding as Keanu speaks, his expression turning serious. After a moment, the manager straightens, his voice now firm, as he addresses the waiter. "Tonight, you'll serve every single customer here by yourself, and you will show them how to treat a guest, not like the way you treated Keanu Reeves, but how a true guest deserves to be treated." The waiter's face flushes with shame, his eyes welling up with emotion. He nods wordlessly, guilt and regret heavy in his heart. He now realizes the magnitude of his actions, and the weight of Keanu's words is beginning to sink in. As the waiter slowly retreats to begin his task, the room remains still, the lesson resonating in the air. Keanu's influence has not been just in the words he spoke, but in the silent strength with which he carried himself. That night, as the waiter serves the patrons with newfound humility, he experiences one of the greatest lessons of his life. With every polite gesture, every respectful smile, he learns what it truly means to treat others with dignity. The arrogance he once held begins to unravel, replaced by a deep, quiet respect. Keanu, without saying another word, quietly finishes his meal. He knows that in that one moment he has done more than just correct an injustice. He has changed someone's perspective and perhaps changed the course of their life. Throughout the night, the waiter works tirelessly, his every move carefully calculated. His hands shake a little less, his demeanor a little more composed. He serves each customer with a new sense of respect, doing everything in his power to make amends for the humiliation he caused. Yet despite his newfound focus, his eyes constantly search for Keanu. He hopes to catch one last glimpse of the man who has so profoundly changed him. But Keanu is nowhere to be found. It's as if he's vanished, like a ghost slipping through the cracks of reality. The restaurant's doors open and close, the staff continues their work, but Keanu is gone, leaving no trace behind. Once again, Keanu has done what he does best. He quietly imparted a lesson, one that would echo in the minds of everyone present. Then just as silently, he disappeared, leaving no need for applause, no need for acknowledgement. The waiter, though humbled and changed, can't shake the feeling that Keanu's absence speaks volumes. His lessons weren't just in his words or his actions, but in his mysterious, almost otherworldly ability to impact others without ever needing to stay. As the night draws to a close and the restaurant empties, the staff and customers alike reflect on what they witnessed. They may never have seen Keanu again, but his presence, his wisdom, and his quiet power linger in the air, impossible to forget. Because Keanu Reeves, in his own unique way, had once again shown the world that true wealth isn't measured by the numbers in a bank account. It's measured by the respect and kindness one gives to others. This story is a powerful reminder that respect isn't just the right thing to do. It's a true measure of strength and character. Now imagine you were in Keanu Reeves' shoes. How would you respond in this situation? Would you choose to quietly stand your ground, just like he did, or would you have reacted differently? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your take. If you want more stories that make you think and reflect, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Remember, true wealth is measured not by what you have, but by how you treat others.